Hey everyone, welcome to the first video in a series that I'll be doing where I review adult point and click games. And so, to start off this series, I wanted to review probably the one that I would say is my favorite game in this particular genre, which I guess you could also consider these to be interactive, graphic, point and click novels. And so, this one is by an artist that goes by the name of Dr. Pinkcake. I didn't choose the name, he did. And the name of this game is called Acting Lessons, and I was genuinely surprised. One, because the game was actually finished when I played it. Most of these games aren't finished yet, but this game is, you can get it on his Patreon, you can download it on Steam, and what I really liked about this game was a few things. So one, first off, it's made with the Ren'Py engine. Two, the way that the models and everything look and everything, it's really good. On top of that, it actually had a very good story. Not only that, it was very dramatic, sometimes very melodramatic, but never in a way that comes off as being stupid or cliche. At least for me, I really enjoyed what happened with it. So you play as a male who's about roughly the age of 40, and you get to choose what you call this character. There's a default name, but if you don't want it, you can change it. And essentially what happens is that he goes into a grocery store, and then, he's sort of flirting with this girl named Megan who works behind the counter. The store gets robbed, he gets knocked out and then wakes up in the hospital recovering, and he was hoping that that girl behind the counter was okay. Goes back to the store to see if she's alright, and turns out she got fired because the boss was a piece of shit who fired her because she didn't trigger a button or some shit for calling the cops, and the place got robbed, and it was all, they blamed her. But anyway, he manages to track her down, and then, they hit off pretty well, and there's this love interest there, but it's one of those games that's got other people you meet along the way as well. She's got, a friend who, unfortunately, her friend Melissa was brought up in this domestic violence environment, and so she's kind of very much a product of that environment, and I really loved her character, by the way. She was actually my favorite one. But, the kind, like, piercings and, like, the hair, very straightforward when it comes to sex, whereas the other character, Megan, was a bit reserved. And the reason why this game is called Acting Lessons is because both this characters, Megan and Melissa, are both close friends, and they, are aspiring to be actresses. And so that's not really the main point of the game, despite the fact the game is called Acting Lessons. It's a, lesser sort of part in terms of the role that it plays, but really the main role that comes into play is the way that you interact with these women, as well as your best friend, whose name is Liam. And anyway, he's a really cool dude. I don't want to spoil stuff in terms of the story, because there is a story to this, which is very well written. And amazingly, it was by one guy. One guy did all the 3D modeling, the programming, the scripts, and the story, everything else. Like, it's all done by one guy. So, which I have to say, very amazing. So this is the stuff that I really loved about the game. I got attached to these characters. Along the way as well, you do meet other characters that you can have relations with or whatnot, but something you need to understand, it's not a harem-based game. It's not one of those games where you can just fuck all the chicks you want and expect no consequences. And I actually kind of like that with this game. It actually gave more sense of realism. Because in real life, if you're getting it on with a girl, and she's becoming quite attached to you, and then you go fuck her best friend, she might be a little pissed off about that. And so that's kind of what this game has to offer. And so I did go into the game just not really knowing anything about it. I just thought it was going to be a game kind of like all the other sort of adult-based point-and-click games where you can just sort of do whatever you want, and it's just like a goal thing, like, excuse me, in the sense of just make this checklist, so I've done this in the game, done this in the game, done this in the game, there it is. But no, this isn't a game like that. It's very much a game where it makes you feel like a dick if you fuck up, because I was up until maybe about 20%, 25% into the game is where I kind of started to, for the first time ever, not care about the sex scenes. I actually cared more about the characters. And so I gotta say, brilliant writing and storytelling on behalf of the creator in order to do that. Because I'm like, wow, I went into this thinking I was just going to be able to do whatever I want with no consequences, and now I feel like a massive dick about it. And so every choice and decision I made after that was to, I guess, try and rectify myself and just, do what I could to not be an arsehole. And this game, as well, there's two kinds of games. There's your sandbox type, and then there's your, I'm just going to call it river stream kind of game, and that's what this one is. So you're going in one direction, and then you have the decision to go this way and this way and this way in order to get to the end. Whereas a sandbox game is kind of like going on a rotating cycle, which is not what this one is. So by the time this game ended, and I know there's some of you that are going to be watching this review who have already played the game, there was a thing where the game just 180'd on me, and I was like, what the fuck, in terms of a plot, where I thought, oh, things are going really well, like, I thought, oh, this is going to be this really awesome happy ending, and then that rug got pulled from underneath me, where I come to a stalemate, where I need to make a very difficult decision, where I need to choose between one of these two girls, and holy crap, I did not think that decision was going to be so difficult. And this is a game as well where even your character's best friend, Liam, I won't spoil it, but there's another thing going on with him as well. And that also was like very impactful and dramatic as you're playing the game. But I went to this just laughing my ass off. I thought, wow, this is really cool dialogue and all this, and great characters, all differently, uniquely designed and characterized, and difficult decisions I had to stumble upon with asshole characters that, if I knocked them out, there could have been dire consequences for that as a result. And so, yeah, all of that just paled by comparison to this one massive decision that you need to make towards the end of the game. And god damn it, I was like, I'm like, what? No, what? Huh? What? No, fuck you. That wasn't supposed to happen. And then I made my decision. With these games you can pretty much save wherever you want to, and sort of see it as a bookmark, so to speak. So this game so far I've only played 1.5 times. Once because I played it all the way through, and then the half time was when I went back to that massive critical decision and I chose the other girl. And so it's not fair for me to say I played the game twice. It's really 1.5 times. And I kid you not, I went into this game not knowing what to expect at all, because no one ever gave me a heads up that there was going to be a dramatic ending. And it does lead to being a happy ending, at least with the ending I got, but I guess it can also be kind of bittersweet. But as much as it pains me to admit this as a male, I was in tears after making that crucial decision, and by the end of the game, and 3 days afterwards, I wouldn't say I had depression, but I had very depressed emotions. Like, I was down in the dumps. And so, even though I'm sort of saying this in a negative way, I am trying to say this in a positive way, because that is impactful storytelling. And it was strange how one person could write something so meaningful in these point-and-click games that are just always written off as being just, a game for people to get like a cheap wank or getting their rocks off or whatever. But no, this actually had a really good storytelling, and all the sex that comes into play, because, in real life, when we're having sex with people that we care about, we also do care about the person attached to said coitus. And that's kind of like what you get in this game, whereas I found a lot of these adult-based point-and-click games, it pretty much it's almost like you're in a world of a porno, whereas this particular game, it really does feel like you're more so in a world of a drama film going on. And so that was a really good breath of fresh air. I kind of felt more invested in the characters that way, because they felt more like actual people as opposed to just, these cookie cutter, oh, I don't have money to pay for the pizza, fuck me, right? And yeah, like I said, props off to this guy. The same artist as well has created another game called Being a Dick. It's a game sort of in the spirit of the American Pie movies, where it's like those teenage, teen humor, college sort of based humor games, except this is much better than American Pie, in my opinion, because it actually has heart. Which I found most of the American Pie films, keep in mind I only watched the first 4, I didn't watch any more after that. They just sort of seemed a bit like just, cheap jackass humor, but there might be a little bit of that in this other game, Being a Dick, and I'll do a full review on that as well. But just letting you know, the same artist has made another really awesome game, so hey, hats off to him. And because I will admit, I did download this game for free, not knowing anything about it, because hundreds of these games, and I really wanted to see what was going on with all of them before I decided to become a supporter of the individuals. Immediately after I had finished reading this game, I was like, oh, I feel so dirty now because I feel like a thief for getting this for free and not giving the guy money. Immediately I went and became a Patreon supporter for this man. And I feel like he's very much well deserving of it. Because me, as someone who also is a story writer, I understand when someone is writing something with heart, and that is what this game is. It's written with heart. So, to summarize, or just to sum this review up, if you are someone who really enjoys playing, or reading at least, like those erotic novels that have a storyline to them, and you want something like this that's sort of like in the form of a digital graphic novel, with different outcomes depending on the choices you make, this is the game for you. My only one gripe is that occasionally the game will crash as I'm clicking through it, and it'll be like a error message where I can't progress further. So what I'll recommend doing is keep in mind as you're playing these sort of games with the mouse, just use the roll up thing. So roll up and you will be able to go back to a point before the game crashed, and then you can do a save and then continue on. If it still keeps crashing, just close the game off and then reopen it and keep playing from there. But like I said, that was my only gripe with the game, and so from what I understand, it hasn't yet been fixed, but it's a very minor thing and it doesn't really bother me that much. But like I said, just remember to keep saving the game when you can. If you never played any of these games before, in order to save, right click and then they'll bring you to an options menu, go to save and pick one of the many slots in there in order to be able to save the game. Other than that, there's not much else I can really say about it, except the fact that, well, this is currently my favorite point-and-click or adult-based game for a reason. So go check it out. Please go and support Dr. Pinkcake. Other than that, thank you for watching, and go play some games.